taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Dr. Chad on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator, hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Focus on the patience and forget about greed, my friends. It's the name of the game. Good morning. Welcome to today's day trading live stream. What is today? Last trading day of the month, Friday, January 31st. S&P is up 20. We did have the core PCE pre-market push the futures, S&P futures down about 10 points after that was released, but still up 20. NASDAQ up 150. Russell is flat. Dow is up about 0.25%. Gold and silver both up a little bit. Notes and bonds a little bit red. 10-year yield up 0.2%. Oil flat. Natural gas down almost 1%. All the grains are red. Soybeans down 1%. Wheat and corn down 2%. Euro and the pound both down 0.5%. Bitcoin down about 1/3%. VIX contracting down a few percent. At the freeze, sitting at 15.32. On my board that you all see here, I've got Apple, Amazon, Google, Coin, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. Got two other boards with 8 stocks. I've got Goldman Sachs, CrowdStrike, Boeing, PLTR, Netflix, Snow, MSTR, Hood. And then I've got AVGO, ARM, Sound, TSM, MU, IONQ, a few others, kind of interchangeable. But as always, let me know if you guys see any volume or price action that warrants any attention. But we'll talk. We're going to day trade for the first hour and then jump into the presentation of the kind of what I've been doing with runners. Just to give you an idea, kind of, we'll be talking about this, but you know, so the market's up, so I'm going to be looking for the strongest stocks, which include Apple, Snow, and AVGO would be kind of the top few. Apple had earnings, of course. So I like to mark the pre-market highs right here on these few stocks. I do have a 6-7 and a Rick that'll be popping in near the open here, so I will need to post those, but those are all bots, so I'll get those posted and then I'll have full attention here. Also want to mark my charts here. NDX expected move 156.7. And SPX. $29.9. All right, so let me get a couple things posted here. My Rick just fired. My 6-7. The 6 7s, if you're a calendar trader, you probably noticed they're pretty expensive this morning due to the contango because of the employment data released on Friday on the long options. All right. Okay. Done with that. All right. So we got Tesla making a little push out of the gate. We got Apple coming down a little bit. We got Amazon pushing above yesterday's highs. It's above pre-market highs. It's up about 1.5%. So it would be considered one of the stronger ones. Google also up over 1%. IONQ's up 3%. So the other thing that I do is, and you can't see this on the screen that I'm showing, but on my other screen, I'm always looking at the daily chart of all these stocks too before I take a trade. I want to see kind of what the structure and kind of the look of the daily chart is before I take a trade on a 5 minute. Like here's an example. So when I say I look at the daily chart, so here's a daily chart of Microsoft, right? Big gap down after earnings. And it's just like there's nothing bullish about that chart. So like unless there's something really, really powerful, enticing on a 5 minute chart, I'm probably not going to take a long on Microsoft. I want to see if I'm going long on a stock, I want to see what I perceive at least as a strength, um, on a daily or higher time frame as well. All right, getting some initial weakness coming in, although the S&P and NASDAQ are just kind of holding through our first 5 minute bar. Tesla staying strong. So Tesla, Amazon, and Google are kind of the three strongest of the big boys. Then we got some other random ones like IONQ, SOUN, ARM, Crowd, PLTR. I also have a watch list. I'll drag it up here of the different sectors. So I want to know what the strongest and weakest sectors are. I mean, we've got red in both. Like for crypto related stocks, I've got the Bitcoin ETF. So if I'm trading coin and MSTR and hood, I want to know what crypto or what Bitcoin's doing. Tech, semiconductor. So tech and semiconductors are green. Financials are a little bit green. Healthcare is a little bit green. Cryptos are red. And then I have BABA on there just as an indication because there's not really a good Chinese ETF, but usually if BABA is up or down, then that is a good barometer for other Chinese stocks like Baidu and PDD. So I don't see, do you guys see any volume, potential volume bars? I don't see any on my board. Maybe, I mean, we've got a couple minutes left. Tesla's about halfway there. MSTR is about halfway. ARM's about halfway, but it doesn't look like any are gonna quite get there. Good morning, Ken. Good morning, JG. So Apple, no continuation higher after earnings. A little bit of a pullback. I really need to get it. I'd like it to get up to about 248 or so. Let's see, where's the peak of my fly? Oh yeah, 250. Yeah, so 250 would be even better. It's going the wrong way. Tesla, little dip and rip. Amazon dipped a little bit, pushing back up. Uber. I don't have Uber on my board, but let me put it on there. Let's see. Uber. Yeah, Uber strong. Yep. Tesla is moving. Volume bar is not quite going to get there, but it's strong. All right, 10 minutes in. S&P is sideways. NASDAQ is sideways. We got some stocks like coin coming down. So crypto, Bitcoin's lower. Google strong, Apple or Amazon strong. So today's Friday, so I'll be trading the 7 DTE options. On Fridays, sometimes I'll trade some 0 DTE as well, but just keep in mind they move extremely quickly. So if you hit them good, get paid quickly, but they can lose value very quickly too. Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on Uber. I mean, the yesterday's high lines right up with the pre-market high as well. Take a look at a daily chart of Uber. It's got earnings coming up. Had a big dip yesterday, but bought it all back up. Looks like it may have the ability to continue higher here. So MSTR had a volume bar on the downside. It's bounced a little bit. Crypto's weak. Pre-market low and MSTR is just above the yesterday's low. See what price does in MSTR here. Coinbase is starting to bounce. Apple still moving lower. No bounce in Apple. Big bounce in coin, but MSTR staying weak. So you could certainly be taking a downside volume runner in MSTR. I'd like to see a little bit more of a bounce before I'd get in. Yeah, Google, one of the stronger ones. Mark the pre-market high here. Yeah, I would take a long Google here. I like it to come down a little bit closer to that pre-market high level, but it's pretty close. I'm gonna go ahead and get in with a small position using the 210 calls in Google. 210 calls in Google. Bounced on me. Filled at 466. So not a great fill, kind of, but let's see if it runs. See, I wanted to get long down there and then already be out of some potentially. Bounce quickly on me. I'll put my first profit target at 515. We can make another push. Yeah, probably would have been close. If I would have been faster on my entry, I probably would have been close to hitting my first profit target when it went up there. Tesla got a volume bar. Bigger than the first. I would trade the 415 calls in Tesla. I put my order at 1180. Filled at 1175 in Tesla. That's an upside volume runner. So I'm in two trades. So I'm not going to get in anything else now until I hit get out or take some chips off the table in one of these. Uber dipped and ripped. Need a dip and rip in Goog and Tesla. S&P and NASDAQ still sideways. Microsoft bouncing. See if Apple is going to ever bounce here today. Started off as one of the strongest, still up 2% after earnings, but decent little drop there out of the gate. Tesla's pushing back up. I have an order to close some of my Tesla at 13. Got up to about 1275. Didn't quite get high enough to hit it. Boeing is somewhat strong. It's pulling back close to its pre-market high, but Marty and Goog and Tesla, so I'm not going to get in anything else. Meta getting strong. Meta's up over 2% now. Netflix also came down to its pre-market high and bounced, and it's right under all-time highs. Meta hit a new all-time high yesterday. It's strong. So I've got orders in Google at 515 and Tesla at 13. If they push above highs, they'll a little bit above highs they should hit. And Google might need to reduce that one a little bit. See if it can pop. Nvidia tried to go green, got pushed back down. Man, S&P is a really tight range, choppy sideways. Amazon taking a pause. Meta had a mighty 90 volume, little pop on that third bar. Made another extension higher. Now it looks like it's coming down a little bit. Tesla and Goog still pulling back. Consolidating just under their highs. Tesla trying to bounce. Tesla, I'm trying to hit 13. It's trading at about 1270. Need to push through highs. Quick little pop. Goog trying to push back up to highs. I'm going to lower my profit target in Goog to 505. Get some book some profits here, but Tesla no follow through. NASDAQ grinding up through the high of the first 5-minute bar. S&P still inside its first 5 minutes. PLTR strong up over 3.33%. Meta strong up over 2.5. Goog pushed through highs, not quite hitting my profits yet. Another little push. Google into new all-time highs. S&P coming back up to the top of its range. Let's see if the S&P can push through and pull everything up. Coin bouncing up towards unchanged. ESM pushing higher. Yeah, SMH chips strongest sector now. Tech and chips strong, China and energy weak. Crypto is improving, still red. So this move in Google, I mean, we're dealing with the 7-day options here, so it's going to move a little bit slower any other day of the week. This would have been hitting profit targets already. Not to mention I didn't get a great fill. Filled at 13 in Tesla. I'm going to just put another order in at 14 in Tesla. It makes another quick run. I need Goog to pop. Meta looks like it's trying to make another run. All-time high was 710.79. It's currently at 704. Uber didn't quite dip down low enough for me to get in, but it's trading near highs of day. Goog hit 505. Filled. So, I mean, today's kind of a mixed day, meaning, certainly not everything's strong. We've got almost half the sector's red, half green. I mean, most of the stocks are more chip and tech related that we're trading, and those are strong. But so today would be a day where I mean, it depends. Like the S&P and Nasdaq are just choppy. They're definitely not showing a lot of. I mean, they gapped up, but not showing a lot of strength so far. Nasdaq a little bit stronger. But my point is, unless they improve, start, pushing, I would look at today as more of a take profits a little bit faster. In other words, don't try to let runners run as long. Now that could definitely change, if the S&P and NASDAQ start really pushing, but there's just quite a mixture of red and green. Feels like a lot of indecision so far. But the strong ones are certainly strong. Meta, Tesla, Goog, ELTR. MU just went green. NVIDIA is trying to go green. Yeah, some of these chips are not that strong. Some are strong, some are not. So it's certainly not everybody in. Not one of those everybody's in one of days kind of days. Tesla still moving up. Amazon, little dip and bounce back up. Here goes NVIDIA. Okay. MU and NVIDIA now green. It's a good sign for the bulls. Tesla's still pushing. I've got a profit target at 14 to close another Tesla. Should be hitting. Get another little tick up. There it is. Filled at 14. So I've got one left. I did 3. So I'll talk about position sizing when we get into the class here a little bit, but I have a little bit different position size for each day of the week because of the way they move. TSM is rocking. Yeah, Amazon, nice dip and rip. Amazon's right under all-time highs from, when was that? Monday, Tuesday. He Googled it's had a nice little up move, but these options are not paying out that well. Now, if I would have done 0 DTE options, it'd probably be up 40, 50%. Coinbase trying to go green. Bitcoin is improving. Bitcoin's still down about 1/3% on the day, but well off of its lows. MSTR is in the green. Coin is in the green. Everybody up. Apple needs to bounce. Come on, Apple. Get with the program. You're holding everybody down. There goes NVIDIA. There goes NVIDIA being NVIDIA. So here's another, I'm just trying to articulate what I'm looking at when I say I'm looking at a daily chart. So here's a situation where NVIDIA's been weak, right? Had that big gap down after the DeepSeek thing, Sunday night, Monday. It's just been kind of chopping around. But the last couple of days dipped and kind of bought up the bid, got bid back up. Yesterday really got bid back up, ended up green. And so I wouldn't doubt if we see a continuation here. So I wouldn't have an issue getting long NVIDIA. So just when I say I'm basing something on the daily chart, that's the kind of thing I want to see. Like if I'm going long, I want to see something that gives me the perception that, if I'm going to get long on a 5-minute chart, I want to see something on the daily that says, yeah, that kind of confirms that. I'm not sure if I'm articulating that very well or if that helps, but all right, there goes Tesla. Same thing with Tesla. Had that big dip yesterday, but got bought up big time over half of it, and now we're getting that continuation up here. Goog has been strong. It's in all-time high territory. All right, so Tesla. So now I've got my last runner on, which I'm a little bit more discretionary on when to exit here, and I'm just trying to decide, is this market going to stay strong? Everything appears to be getting stronger. I mean, the S&P is up 0.5%, NASDAQ is up 1.26%. Semiconductors and tech are the strongest. Getting another big volume bar in Tesla. I wish I had more contracts. If I was doing a shorter duration rather than the 7 DTE that were, where they were cheaper, I would have more contracts to play with. So I'd be scaling at more. I've only got one left here. So just trying to decide when to bail on this last one. And I'll look at the daily chart for this as well, just to see if there's any kind of key levels that there's really not until we get up to kind of the 434, 437 area, which I don't think we're heading there today. Could, but. All right, so Google is on the move again. I'm going to shed, let's see, I got out of my first one at 505. Oh, right there. I'll put an order to get out of some at 550 if we make another push. Meta pulling back. Yeah, I mean, you could certainly look at Meta as it's been super strong. Microsoft getting strong. The other thing I like, and I'll talk about this here when we start the little class update thing as well. But the other thing that I'm really paying attention to is, on my other screen, I've got the S&P and the NASDAQ, and so I'm really looking at, every 5-minute bar, if it's an up bar, how are these stocks reacting? Are they strong as well? Are they stronger? Are they not as strong? Now we got a situation where the NASDAQ and the S&P are staying strong near highs of day, but that's a big pullback. I don't really like that. I don't like getting long when the overall market's staying strong, but a stock is getting weak. Even though Meta's been strong so far, now all of a sudden it's getting weak, but the indices are not. And so that would make me pause on getting in Meta. So I'm looking at relative strength to how are these stocks reacting, or if the S&P and the NASDAQ have a big pullback or a decent sized pullback, I want to see which stocks are staying strong, which stocks are holding their heads up the best for a potential continuation higher. So then if the market does rebound, those stocks are a lot of times are going to be the ones that fly the highest. Yeah, Meta's still coming down, and now the S&P and NASDAQ are pulling back a little bit more, and Meta's coming down even more. NVIDIA pulling back. So now we got a situation where NVIDIA is pulling back, the market's starting to pull back, but you look at a stock like MU, and it started off a little bit weaker, but it made a big push up into positive territory, and it's not pulling back really at all during this little pullback. Tesla's holding up really well. Google is pulling back a little bit. But like MU, I mean, it looks like if the market bounces again here, MU looks like it wants to take off. Look at MU versus NVIDIA. Both are chip companies. Yeah, MSTR. Oh, yeah. It had well, even an upside volume runner. It had a big volume bar. Yeah, I'm going to get long MSTR. Good call. I'm going to be getting in the 345s. Actually, I'm going to do the 350 calls. 350 calls in MSTR. Filled at 1320. So I'll put this one over here so I can. So yeah, I mean, even without that volume, I mean, I kind of like that. I mean, a big push. You could use the yesterday's close, the unchanged mark is kind of your line in the sand. But the volume is what I really liked. Now it's still under, the pre-market highs. So as far as that, using that as a line in the sand, that doesn't qualify. Would have been even better if it was above that area. But I like the volume. This is an upside volume runner for me. Okay, so I took MU off my board, but look at what MU did. The market bounced, so it pulled back. MU did not really pull back. The market bounced. Now look at MU. It's just rocketing higher. So when I talk about relative strength, it's not just, the market's up, is this stock up or down? Like if you look at, just if you're trading on a 5-minute chart like I do, looking at the 5-minute reactions of the index versus some of these stocks, and you'll see some really nice opportunities like that. So fast, when I say UCR, for me, that's upside continuation runner. I think what you're referring to is UVR, or I know these acronyms get a little crazy, but upside volume runner. So when you have a volume spike that's higher than the first 5-minute bar, that discredits any mighty 90 potential, because that says that's some serious volume. So to me, that says continuation. So that's an upside volume runner, that wouldn't be a mighty 90. If it's a volume spike, but it's not as high as the first 5-minute bar, that's when you consider it a mighty 90 potentially, as long as the other factors are part of that. I'm going to put a profit target at 1440 on MSTR. Tesla's holding up. Goog's still at highs of day. Well, big volume spikes can either be volume coming in for a continuation or exhaustion, right? So the The idea is to figure out which it is. And, you know, if a stock had a huge run and it's running and running and running and running, and then it has a big volume spike, even if it's higher than the first, yeah, I would look at that as potential exhaustion. Now, I mean, this could be too, right? I mean, we had a run up close to the pre-market highs with a big volume kind of spike on that last one. So, I mean, it's pulling back right now, but I still look at that as an upside volume runner. You know, crypto's getting strong, making a big push into green territory. My assumption is this is a pause before a continuation, but we'll see. MU is ripping. NVIDIA is still pulling back. So on a volume runner, make sure you go back and watch the class because all this is part of the class. But you know, this candle that had the big volume, if it goes below that, that's kind of that's my exit for a volume runner. I'll give it a little bit of room in case it does just a little head fake, but I'm not going to let it go too much below that. The candle that had the big volume, so the 9 a.m. candle that had the big volume, if we push much below that, I'm going to bail. Tesla, a little pullback. Amazon came all the way down to yesterday's high. So we need MSTR to bounce here. You know, one thing I didn't do on that trade because I got in a hurry is I didn't really look at the daily chart. I'm not crazy about the daily chart on this one. So if I had taken a look at the daily chart, I probably wouldn't have gotten in this. I mean, it looks pretty weak, you know, just even with some of these other cryptos bouncing on these last few days, this one is MSTR has been pretty weak. And now here it comes down. So it broke below. So now I've got my finger on the trigger to bail on this one. Still got a few minutes left in this bar, so I don't, you know, I want to give it a little bit of breathing room, but Coinbase dipped as well. So I also want to pay attention to, you know, whatever kind of the benchmark is. So if it's a chip stock, I'm looking at SMH. For this, I'm looking at, you know, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just acting a little bit stronger. It had just a one little bar pullback. See if this can just dip and rip for us. If not, I've got my finger on the trigger ready to bail. Got about 2.5 minutes left in this bar. If it closes below, I'll definitely bail, but just giving it a minute, see if it wants to bounce here. Got yesterday's lows here that it's kind of reacting off of a little bit. So the S&P and NASDAQ are not really dipping, but some of these stocks are pulling back. And now look at Meta. Meta's bouncing. MU is still ripping. That was one I should have taken. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Nvidia popping back up. ARM is another chip stock that's ripping. AVGO is ripping, and NVIDIA is bouncing now, but it's definitely not as strong as some of these others. TSM staying strong. All right, so MSTR is hanging in there. Back up to unchanged. Let it live another day, or another minute in this case. The other thing I talked about, I think I was talking about this on Power Hour yesterday. Yeah, I was talking about cutting losers quickly. So that's critical. So you don't, like, I'm giving it a little bit of breathing room, and I'm not anywhere near my max loss amount. The max loss I want to take on one of these trades is $1,000, down a few $100 on this. But, what I was talking about yesterday was you can always get back in, right? So if you need to cut right here just to manage risk, don't be afraid to cut. And then if it bounces back up, you can get back in. For me, I've found that much better on my, not only your psyche, but your P&L swings. Like, because if you cut it early and it keeps falling, but you did great, right? You're glad you got out. But if it head fakes you and flushes you out and you have to cut your loss for a small loss, who cares? If it gives you a head fake and bounces back up, get back in. And so I've really found that to be a good practice. All right, so we got Tesla and Goog pulling back. Now we got the S&P and the NASDAQ coming down. Wow, IONQ's at 9%. So Goog is coming back to basically where I got in, as far as where the options are priced at anyway. So I'm going to be, if Goog doesn't bounce here, I'm going to be cutting it. It's acting a little bit weaker than the indices as well. I mean, the S&P and NASDAQ were just holding strong, and it was pulling back. So was Tesla, though. Now it's bouncing. So let's see. Give it a bit. Uber never really did anything. It's still chopping sideways. May have another extension in it, but nothing yet. All right, MSTR improving. Tesla improving. Goog, you need to get on board with the improvement crew. Be back in 1 minute. All right, there we go, MSTR. Coin almost back to green. So, and then the other thing is here, Coinbase is still red, MSTR is green, so MSTR is strongest of the cryptos. Now, Coin didn't have any kind of volume bar or anything to get in anyway, but just another kind of comment on relative strength. Robinhood just went green. It will kind of flow with the crypto stocks most of the time. All right, so MSTR, pretty close to where I got in right now. I've got my first profit target in MSTR at 1440. So it needs to punch through. I just got filled at 1280. What was that on? Oh, that was a late Rick. Not a day trade. Hang on, let me get this posted. Six, seven single count. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do my scheduled one at, I think it's 11:30 my time. All right, so no bounce yet in Goog. Tesla had a little bounce. I'm not really a big fan of these 7-day options. They move very slow. My favorite are like 2 and 3 DTE. They just move nicely. I like the way they move. Apple's still bleeding back down to yesterday's high, still up 1.3% from yesterday after earnings, but all red today so far. We need crypto to pop. Bitcoin is now green. Coinbase is now green. S&P and NASDAQ still at highs of day. Goog is not getting any better. Even with the indices staying up. I'm gonna bail on Goog. Closed at 463. So booked a small profit in Goog. Plus 186. Just not much follow through. So now Tesla, I'm going to talk about this here after we get done trading in the little class update too, adding to positions. I mean, the indices are holding up and they're strong. Tech is holding up strong. So adding on that pullback is definitely something I could have considered on Tesla. But I just didn't. I mean, part of this is I'm staying when I live stream, I have to stay smaller and I've just got, too many things going on. Whereas if I'm just trading on my own, I can do a lot more. But Tesla is definitely one that I could have considered adding to on that pullback. So, and the thought process behind that is if I'm long and things aren't, if it's a bullish stock like say Tesla is today, but the market was weak, I would not be adding. I would just kind of be taking profits a little bit quicker. But with the way things are kind of shaping up so far, adding to Tesla there wouldn't have been bad in my opinion. MU is still pushing, and that would have been a nice one. PLTRs at highs of day, up 4.5%. We need MSTR to make another pop. Amazon chopping above yesterday's high. I just don't like the way Amazon had a pretty decent pullback and the market didn't really pull back much. Now Meta did too, and it bounced. So I mean, I like Amazon on the daily. It's just under all-time highs. Could make another run at all-time highs for sure. Yes, if this market stays strong. I mean, it bounced off that yesterday's high 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt if it rips here, but I'm just gonna stick with my Tesla and MSTR for now, just because we're getting ready to wind this down. I don't want to have any positions on when I start talking, presenting. Tesla, no continuation with this little pop. By the way, I forgot to post in my update this morning. Today is the last day of the month, so I will be doing the last day of the month trade. There's MSTR hit at 1440. There's Amazon getting a pop. So Tesla's not, right? Tesla is not participating in this little run. Go, crypto, go, go. Go, crypto, go, go, go. So now we got MSTR pushing above its pre-market highs. Crypto's acting strong. So I could use that level if it pulls back. MU is going parabolic. All the chips getting strong now. AVGO, TSM, ARM. ARM's up 5.25%. NVIDIA highs of day. Man, Apple is disappointing. I'm not mad Apple. I'm just disappointed. Ooh, there goes MSTR. I'll put another order in at 1560 to close another MSTR if it can continue up a little bit. Come on, Tesla, jump on the bull train. Everybody's leaving without you. Apple, you're no help to anybody today. Goog, rebounding a little bit. I'm going to give Tesla just another minute here. Otherwise, I'm going to cut my last one. If this market pulls back, it may not hold up that well. Yeah, I'm going to get out of Tesla. Filled at 1345. Might consider staying in longer if I was planning to be trading longer, but don't like the price action compared to the market or some of these other stocks. So I've just got MSTR. Got 2 contracts left in MSTR. The chips have gotten some legs today. SMH is up 2%. All right, I'm going to put MSTR on the clock here. So we can move on. See, it's 9:37, so let's say start at 9:45. MSTR, you are on the clock. See if you can give us one more push. It's trying to poke its head back up. Amazon, it's getting a little bounce for you. Tesla trying to perk up a little bit. What's Robinhood doing? Where's Hood? Where's my Hood? There. Oh yeah, well, Hood's staying kind of weak. Yeah, so MSTR is definitely the strongest between Hood and Coin and MSTR. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Chad. It's the way to do it. Getting back in is just a commission away. MSTR pulling back now. Didn't give that follow through yet. MU is finally pulling back. ARM, a little pause. NVIDIA pullback. So chips giving a little pullback. SMH, same. Little 2-bar pullback. MSTR, a little pullback. Crypto, a little pullback. So I would be looking to add to MSTR here. Most likely, if I or not most likely, I would be, as it's pulling back to pre-market highs. But like I said, I'm just gonna get out so that I don't have to pay attention while I'm talking. Tesla trying to creep back up towards highs. By the way, I will I mentioned I just put MSTR on the clock, like because I'm getting ready to present, but I'll do that. I'll do that anyway sometimes, just to sometimes it's good just to get out, to like reset. And so, sometimes I'll do that where I'll just I just feel like if I start to feel my focus waning a little bit, or if I've got other stuff I need to do, I'll put a trade on the clock and be like, as soon as it hits this time, I'm just going to get out no matter what's happened. So there's nothing wrong with doing that either. In fact, I think doing that is a good thing a lot of times. It's from a psychological standpoint, having no positions on can free up your mind to really look at the markets and the different stocks in a completely different way. Like it can really free up your mental capital to just kind of reset and reevaluate. So if you do want to keep trading, cool. Give yourself a 15-minute break. Go take a walk, get out of your trades, come back with a fresh outlook. One, it's maybe too much information, but one, one thing, the other thing I've found is if I take a shower, like if I get out of my positions and I go take a shower, it's like sometimes I can actually feel the water just washing away all the some of the perceptions that I had, that I was looking at, and you come out and it's just a completely, you have a totally fresh new look at everything. And I've just found that to be pretty crazy how how different of a how different of a perception you can have after that. Yeah, no, I know it's a little weird, a little awkward. Try it though. Don't hate it until you try it. Just trying to share everything with you guys. Trying to, you know, every little edge. We need every little edge we can get in this market. And if it's taking a shower to take a break, so be it. All right. MSTR is getting ready to be cut.